This story is called The Dragon Who Liked to Spit Fire. As you can see, it's a very old book. This book is older than I am. This is another story that my mom used to read to me when I was little, and then I read it to my kids, and now I'm reading it to you. The story is written by, I need to turn to a cover page. The story and the pictures are by someone named Judy Varga. The Dragon Who Liked to Spit Fire. Once there was a little dragon named Darius. He was a sweet, gentle little dragon, and he lived all by himself in a deep, dark cave. All day long he slept, and all night long he spat fire, pink, blue, and many-colored fire, and sometimes he spat a purple fire with orange sparks. Spitting fire was what he liked to do best. One day a little prince named Frederick lost his way. He came to the deep, dark cave and found Darius merrily spitting fire. Because they liked each other at once, Frederick asked Darius to come and live at his castle. "I would love to," answered the dragon politely. "I am rather tired of this gloomy old cave. But your people may not like dragons. They may get terribly frightened when they see me spit fire, and life without spitting fire wouldn't be much of a life for a dragon." "If you stop spitting fire where people can see you," Frederick argued, "you will be perfectly safe. No one at my castle ever saw a dragon before. No one will ever know you are a dragon. You can spit all the fire you like when we are alone. I rather like your many-colored fire." Darius thought, and finally he said yes. He had been lonely for a long time, and he wanted to be friends with Frederick. Darius promised never, never to spit fire where people could see him. They left his gloomy cave and went to live at the castle. Everyone liked Darius at once because he was so sweet and gentle. "How quaint," said the ladies of the court when they met him. They made him sweets with their own lily-white hands. "How delightful," said the gentlemen of the court. They taught him to fetch a golden ball. "What a gentle pet for Frederick to play with," said the king. He presented Darius with a medal on a golden chain. The little dragon slept in a basket by the little prince's bed. He followed him like a dog wherever he went. But Darius could never spit any fire. The castle was always full of people, and they were never alone. When Frederick took the little dragon deep into the forest, someone always followed. Darius began to sulk. One rainy day when they couldn't go outdoors, Frederick and Darius were playing in a dark corner of the throne room. The king was fast asleep on his throne. The queen was busy with her sewing. The ladies and gentlemen of the court were looking out the window. No one was paying any attention to them at all. "I am going to spit just a little fire," whispered Darius. "Just a tiny little bit of pink fire." And before Frederick could stop him, the little dragon spat. But Darius was terribly out of practice. He was also very excited. Instead of spitting a little bit of pink fire, he spat an enormous orange fire, and the royal banners went up in flames. The little dragon tried to blow them out before anyone noticed, but the more he blew, the more fire he spat. He tried to beat out the fire by thrashing his spiky tail around. He made a lot of noise. Everyone began to stare. He behaved so much like a dragon that everyone realized he was a dragon. "How dreadful," said the king. "All this time we have been living with a dangerous and mean dragon and never knew it. I must get my medal back. Darius must leave the castle at once before he brings terrible harm to Frederick." "Please give him another chance," begged the little prince. "He'll never harm me, even though he is a very disobedient dragon." But the king would not listen. "You can't have a dragon for a friend," he thundered. And because he was very frightened, He muttered angry words about throwing Darius in a dungeon if he ever came near Frederick again. The little dragon put his medal down at the king's feet. He left without looking back once. He ran back to his cave and spat fire to his heart's content. He spat fire all night long and all the next day too. He took a little nap, then he spat more fire, all the colors he could think of, and a new kind that was white with little stars. He had a very good time. The days passed by and the months. The little dragon was not happy any more. He missed his shiny medal and the sweets the ladies of the court used to make for him. He missed playing fetch the ball with the gentlemen of the court. But most of all, he missed his friend, the little prince. He felt very lonely in his dark and gloomy cave. Every day he wandered down to the forest, hoping that Frederick might happen to ride by so he could catch a glimpse of him. One day as he waited, he heard the sound of trumpets. He saw the whole court with the king and Frederick in the lead. They were going on a hunt. Suddenly, a wild boar rushed out of the forest, charging straight at Frederick. All the hunter's arrows missed him. The little prince was in great danger. The little dragon darted from behind the trees. He remembered the king had said he would throw him in a dungeon if he ever came near Frederick again. But he didn't care. He saw that his friend was in danger and needed him. He stood right in front of the boar and spat fire, a purple fire with orange sparks. The boar turned and rushed back into the forest. The little prince was saved. Then Darius stood with his head bowed in front of the king and waited for his punishment. The king cleared his throat 3 times. He did not know how to begin, for kings don't like to admit they are wrong. But he was a very just king, so he cleared his throat a 4th time. When I was little, I didn't know what it meant when it said he was a very just king. The word just means he was a very fair king. But he was a very just king, a fair king, so he cleared his throat a 4th time. "It is rather nice to have a dragon around the castle," he said. "Frederick could never have a better, more faithful friend than Darius." He took off his own medal and hung it on the little dragon's neck. Everyone cheered. Then they all went home. Darius stayed at the castle with the king and Frederick. The king had the dragon's picture embroidered on the new royal banners to remind his people ever after that he had saved Frederick's life. And every night Darius sat on the castle walls, spitting beautiful colored fire for everyone to see. After all, he was a dragon, and spitting fire was what he liked to do best.